Well, guys, here we are again, back dunking on TERFs. It really doesn't end. Now, listen, guys, the particular thing that we're covering today is a little different from what I usually cover. Normally, I like to cover a video from a large public figure. Sometimes I'll cover a statement made in a tweet. But normally I like to keep it to like actual arguments, actual propaganda, laws, videos, statements, and whatnot that's being made. Usually I don't cover just random people's tweets unless it's something really abhorrent. Or, in this case, perfectly demonstrative of the thought process of an entire political group that I oppose. Now, you may say that I'm lumping in all TERFs with this particular person, but I think it's evocative of basically every single TERF's ideology and worldview borne out in one single tweet, a tweet so embarrassing that it had to get deleted. So I actually quote tweeted the tweet in question here last night. Look at this fan fiction. Damn. No longer exists. Isn't that sad? Well, thankfully, my lovely chatters were able to dig up a web archive of this long, by long I mean literally like probably 2 hours ago, deleted tweet, and we're able to relive its glory. Now, I want to remind you that this tweet, before its deletion, had 2,768 likes, and that is in literally like a day of it being released, and overwhelming support in the comments. Pretty much like 64 quote tweets to 2,768 likes. That is not a lot. That is not a ratio. This person did not get ratioed. I want to remind you, this had pretty overwhelming support on Twitter. So prepare yourself to lose some respect for humanity, okay? Now, I want to start by pointing something out here, just in the photo alone, okay? Oh my god, okay. It seems that it is very zoomed in. Have you ever seen somebody more evidently British? Listen, I don't know that she's British, but I feel safe enough. I feel pretty safe in assuming. I don't know. I just feel like I'm pretty good at noticing like the British person, the British physiognomy. Is that the term? The physiognomy? Is that what they call it? The fucking incel bone structure science? Anyway, this is the tweet. Oh, wow, I am... there's just a lot covering this up. I might as well just read it to you guys. Quote-unquote, fat D slur. The one used for lesbians. The group of lads shouted as they... there we go, yep, guaranteed. British. Told you. I fucking told you. I didn't even remember that they... that she referred to them as lads. The group of lads shouted as they rode past me as I sat in the park with my 4-year-old. Quote-unquote, why thank you, I said. Quote-unquote, I'd lost hope of someone recognizing an actual lesbian, especially when boys like you say they are also lesbians. They all shut up and rode off. And then a photo of herself here in the park, presumably. So I'm going to go ahead and very confidently say this story is not true, okay? It is a very much a Reddit and everyone clapped moment, okay? But I want to point out just some of the very funny things that you can notice in this, because this story literally hits on every single TERF talking point and then opens up and exposes one of the most disgusting things about the TERF's worldview and their end goal. Update tweet 2. Oh, it gets juicier. I'll read that afterwards then. So first it starts off with being called a homophobic slur. Now, that is believable. That happens. People who are LGBT, are unfortunately, oftentimes, mistreated because of that. That part of the story, I'm willing to believe that a group of lads shouted that pejorative at her in the park. I will say it's strange that they'd yell it to a woman with her 4-year-old, but I mean, who doesn't even seem to be at all overweight. But I don't know. Like I guess maybe they're insulting some guys are insulting a random woman with her daughter on the I don't know why I assumed daughter with her 4-year-old on a park bench. That's a little extreme of a scenario, but, you know, it could happen. It could happen. I've seen worse happen in parks, okay? I've seen some crazy shit happen in American parks, all right? So, okay. Now, her response is interesting. Now, let's say, hypothetically, you are a leftist, and you're sitting on a park bench, and you see a conservative talking down to like a conservative talks down to you in some way and they're really stupid and wrong. Do you really think that realistically you, as a leftist who just happens to be in this perfect scenario for your political ideology, happens to know exactly what to say to that person at that right time and just destroy them in that debate? That the right person at the right time would happen to be in that place and just have the right response like this, the right, quote unquote, to them, you know, response just ready for a scenario like that happens to be so conveniently perfect for their political ideology. I don't know. This sounds like a scenario somebody, or the end part sounds like maybe what she wished she said at best, if this all even happened. It sounds more like, oh, yeah, she was in the shower later and she was like, what if I said this? That would have been awesome. And then, you know, that's what ended up happening. She ended up going to Twitter and telling the story, and that is the history that we all believe now. Xanderhall, cis bus energy? I have no fucking idea what that... what did you just say to me? I know what cis means, and I know what energy means. I don't know what bus means, though, in this context. I'm very... Listen, okay, I am the only cis, straight, heterosexual, non-trans, non-gay, not... Like, yeah, it was a Tumblr post? A what? There is a cis bus that has to... Okay. I can't... We can't go down this path, alright? We can't go down this path. Anyway... Why, thank you, I said. I'd lost hope of someone recognizing an actual lesbian. So obviously the claim that, like, I guess our society has reached a point that, like, trans women, because that's what this is referring to. What they basically are saying is that trans women have become so numerous. They believe, of course, trans women are men pretending to be women, usually with the intent of, you know, getting with lesbians, I guess, because I suppose they believe that, you know, lesbians can be fooled into being attracted to people they're not supposed to, quote-unquote, be attracted to. Doesn't make any sense when you really think about it for long enough. TERFs are insane. Xanderhall, here's the page if you're ever curious now. It's a made-up story about trans people being mean to cis people. Oh, shit. I'll have to check that out someday. It sounds very funny. I'll probably check it out after stream. I have a very interesting similar scenario I want to bring up, though. Yeah. I'd lost hopes of someone recognizing an actual lesbian. Now, this is basically trying to claim that, like, trans women, basically on the presupposition that they're men, you know, masquerading as women with the, you know, goal of infiltrating women's spaces and tricking lesbians into liking them when they're not supposed to, I guess. Like, it really makes no sense. Regardless, though, they think that society has become so accepting of trans women and their identities, particularly of trans femme lesbians, that everyone just sort of assumes that any lesbian they see, or any, like, femme-presenting lesbian-looking person they see, is a trans femme lesbian. I guess is how they view the world, which is hilarious, because the only place where you really tend to encounter trans femme lesbians in any real high capacity or like a high frequency is on the internet, you know. like What world do these people live in? The end half is also very funny, especially when boys like you say they are also lesbians. So this is real, her saying to, apparently there was a group of guys, like I'm assuming a bunch of dude bros walking down the street, called her this, and she replied, boys like you are trying to say they're lesbians. They all shut up and rode off. And then, like, a muscle emoji and a laughing, crying emoji. So, putting aside how obnoxiously and evidently made up the half of the story is, where she comes off as being a badass, or tries to make herself look like as such, and frankly, the entire story seems dubious at best, I think it points something out to me that's very, very, very funny. It's the desire for oppression. You see, she was happy at being called a fat D-slur. The point of the story was that this was something that made her happy because it indicated to her that good old-fashioned cis, sexism, like cis sexism and homophobia towards lesbians, the existence of that somehow signaled that trans rights had not fully dominated quote-unquote society. Isn't it kind of a sickening thought that people like this would rather be subjected to a society that hates them than accept a group that they hate just as much as a society that hates them for no reason? It really is crazy. It really, really is crazy. Not to mention, I love how the framing of, like, people like them. Like, obviously she says boys like you, but I feel like you can also interpret that as, like, she thinks that the type of people that go around calling lesbians in the street fat D-slur are identifying as trans women. Which I assure you is not the case. Trans women are not out there in roving death squads calling lesbian cis women, homophobic slurs. That is not... Hell yeah, we are. Actually, to be fair, trans women do love saying the F slur. I don't know why, but it's almost like a fucking catchphrase for them. But it's just on repeat. It's like a broken record. Just the F slur, every other word. You all do it. I know you do. Anyway, what I actually think this is indicative of is the desire for a victim complex. Do you guys remember when Black Panther released? Who remembers when Black Panther came out? Now, whether or not you like Black Panther, who fucking cares? The right were really, really fucking mad about it. You see, Black Panther kind of made itself into this, or was made into, I really can't say which, this sort of like culture icon piece, I guess you could say, during the time. And the right decided that they hated it, right? It was very much a mix of go woke, go broke, and a very overt anti-black, like, push. Like, the very mask-off thing at the time. Because you have to understand, during the time when that movie came out, Gamergate was, like, well in its decay period, you know? Like, the creators that were making right-wing content at the time were really just kind of, kind of just going mask-off with their racism. So, they kind of viewed Black Panther as being, like, this icon of black culture. That's what the right viewed it as. So what they decided to do was make up a conspiracy theory. Now, this never happened. What I'm about to tell you never happened. Not once. And yet, a significant amount of people believe that this happened at least once, if not was an epidemic, when the movie was released. That white people going in to watch Black Panther in theaters were being insulted by groups of thugs on the way into the movie and being told, this movie wasn't made for you. Who remembers that? That shit was all over the internet, and it was made the fuck up. Made up by butthurt white people that felt like the existence of this movie and, like, what they saw as like just a lot of black people being hyped for it online upset them so fucking much that they needed to manufacture a fake narrative about being physically assaulted in mass to push their narrative, because they know that what they believe is not true. They know that their whole insane conspiracy, or their insane beliefs about black people being like violent and hating white people and stuff like that, and not wanting white people to be able to see a fucking movie is bullshit. But they make it up anyway because it helps to support their narrative. They're willing to do whatever it takes, lie about whatever it takes in order to reach their goal. In that same way, the TERFs will do the same. The TERFs are completely willing to make up stories like this, and they'll work together to corroborate them even, in order to push their narrative. And usually, if it involves a bunch of oftentimes wealthy, affluent, white British women claiming they're victims, usually usually you can call bullshit, or at the very least, you should look a little closer, because something might be up. Anyway, what is this? This is oh yeah, this is the follow-up to it as well. I was called a D-slur as a teenager, and it was a word that made me recoil. It made me feel ugly, worthless, and less than, because the word D-slur was only ever used to degrade a woman that a boy or man deemed unattractive, so don't ever tell me that my truth isn't real. It's not real? What? Only ever? That it was only ever used to degrade a woman that a boy or man deemed unattractive. Okay. Let me tell you, I'm going to try to steelman this as best as I possibly can, okay? The worst dudes ever, just the worst possible guys, when rejected by a woman, will be incapable of internalizing the fact that a straight woman did not find them attractive. So their copium will be, must be a lesbian, because a straight woman could not ever not be attracted to me. So I wouldn't so much say that it's used to refer to women that men don't see as attractive. I mean, I guess maybe, but more so in the derogatory sense, used towards by men towards women that aren't attracted to them in an asshole, nice guy goes mean kind of way. Not to mention, is this just a British brained thing? Because I don't know about you guys, but at least out here in California, that word is not super slurified. I'm gonna be real. Isn't there's an event that happened? I'm in Palm Springs, which is mostly a community that's mostly the population is gay men, older gay men that are very wealthy, but there are a lot of lesbians here too. It's just a very, very high concentration of gay people here, and there are a lot of lesbians too, and they do an event called I can't say this word on Twitch, I'm certain. D-slur on bikes. It rhymes, okay? I think you can put two and two together. And I think it's a literal, lesbian biker gang parade type thing. I'm not 100% sure on all the details. It's been a while since I heard about it. But there's all sorts of stuff. Nah, it's still a fairly strong slur. I'd say it carries a lot more weight than even the F slur. What? Ooh, I don't know about that. Are you sure? More weight than the F slur? I mean, yeah. Well, the F slur is being pretty well reclaimed. I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just that out here they've done a lot better of a job of reclaiming the D slur. Granted, back in Florida, I wouldn't even come close to saying that the F slur or the Q slur, or I guess you're allowed to say queer in the context of its reclaimed context. Not even that you could even claim is normalized enough to be able to responsibly use that there. Where I came from in Florida, it is decades behind on some of the social progress. Yeah, I'm glad I got the fuck out of Florida. God damn. God damn. In my life, I've always heard the F slur well and truly reclaimed. I have not. I'm sorry, but I've just been in too many like 2B2T Discord voice calls and heard too many gamer. You know, maybe some of those gamer bros screaming the F slur in those 2B2T calls will end up being trans girls down the road. So, you know, in the end, maybe they are reclaiming it, you know, sort of retroactively. Like they're actually playing 4D chess. They're reclaiming the slur before they come out as trans. It's actually really big brain, get it? Because, like, if you come out as trans, then you have to get all this, like, you know, all this abuse from society. But if you kind of stay in the closet as cis for a little while and then use the slur and pretend to be a transphobe or a homophobe, then you can kind of, like, contribute... I'm trying to make a bit here. You can contribute to normalizing it before you... I don't know. I thought this would be a funny joke. I was going to argue it's like 4D chess, you know? Normalizing the word before you even come out. Put down the vape, bro. I'm not even that high. I'm not even that high, okay? You can't do this. I'm going to get even higher just to spite you, okay? Yeah, that'll do it. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. It's completely free, and it really does force YouTube to push my content a lot further in the algorithm to a lot of new people, which just objectively helps my channel and me myself. So, it just, you know, consider doing it. It helps out a lot. Hit that little thumbs up. And of course, if you want to see more from me on YouTube, you can hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or whenever I upload a brand new video, because if you don't do that, they just won't tell you. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile and support me financially, you can do so on my website, as Poo P just did. You can support me on my website in the form of a dono, a gifted sub, or a sub for yourself. Or you can support me financially on YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. And of course, don't forget, if you want to see more from me on this lovely place that we call the internet, you can follow all of my social medias, including my Instagram, TikTok, fan Discord, and my Twitter, in the description down below. I pretty much link all my social media and all my descriptions of everything, so shouldn't be hard to find. Follow me on all that stuff. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a fantastic day.